Stay in touch with us on Facebook and Instagram at Unique Yet Connected. You are now listening to the 42nd episode of Unique Yet Connected podcast. The theme for this episode is love and control in a relationship. Hello, brilliant souls in and around the world. Nolita Kozwa Fenton is my name and Dolokas is my clan name, and this is episode 42. A warm welcome to Unique Yet Connected podcast, where we treat our episodes as mini workshops so we can best share the wisdom of systemic family constellations. Thank you for joining our movement of translating this wisdom into a practical language that all of us can easily understand, and most importantly, implement in our daily lives. And as mentioned, our theme for this episode is love and control in a relationship. Remember, when you comment, ask questions, like and share our content and links, you help us grow together. And there wouldn't be a podcast without you, myself, Kinga, Nick, the ones who came before us, and Bert Hellinger, the founder of the work that is most fulfilling for Kinga and I. And as always, Kinga is on the other side of the virtual. Hi, Kings.
Hi, Noli. Thank you. Hello, dear listeners and co-editors. Yes, dear listeners, keep sharing this knowledge because it can change lives for the better. Thank you for your contribution in helping us to be chosen into the top 10 South Africa family podcasts by FeedSpot. You are our inspiration in building and opening up the theme about the laws of love and romantic relationships. Please continue to share your questions, comments, and insights on uniqueyetconnected@gmail.com and on WhatsApp 076-289-6670. Join our monthly virtual connection circle every last Tuesday evening of the month. To receive your link, subscribe on our website www.uniqueyetconnected.com or check for updates on our socials at Unique Yet Connected.
Or you can simply drop us a WhatsApp message as well so we can share the link with you. Again, our number is 076-289-6670. We are still opening up the signs of codependent behavior. A lot has come up and it keeps coming up. I've been unraveling, as you know, and yeah, we are here today and still processing. And I think I'll continue to process even after we finish the codependent phase. Dear listener, if you need support in any way during your processing time, remember, we are here for you. And you can also book a constellation session you need to get to the root cause of what's bothering you. And Kinga is ready to help you with the session. Yeah, over to you, Kings.
Yes, we are definitely here for you. And you can contact us on whichever channel that suits you best, via our website, email, WhatsApp, or drop us a message on our socials. And we will respond to you. We get back to you. We are here to answer your questions in the best ways we can. Now back to this episode. Yes, we know you might have already heard this, but maybe this is your first episode. So we have established in the previous episodes that people can exhibit codependency in different ways and varying levels. In this episode, we carry on reading through and discussing the list of the signs of codependent behavior by Erica Swindling. There is a little exercise we're doing while we're reading through the list, and we started it already in the previous episodes, that we have started to assess our level of codependency by the criteria of whether this feels very much like me or a little bit like me or not at all like me. You can scale them between 1 and 10. 1 being not at all like me and 10 exactly like me. Pause the podcast and bring your notebook if you haven't already done so and start the work. Let's read through again.
My pen and paper is right here with me, and here comes the list. So I'll start with the first things that we've already looked into in episode 35. So lacking boundaries between yourself and others, blurring lines in relationships, you struggle to see where you end, and the other person begins. Feeling low self-esteem, fearing rejection and abandonment. Then in episode 36, we looked at the following: apologizing or accepting blame to avoid conflict, being who someone else wants you to be, ignoring your own needs, putting other people's needs before your own, anticipating and reacting to someone else's needs, which may be perceived accurately or not. This one it took us 2 episodes, episode 37 and 38. In episode 39, we looked at feeling like you've lost your sense of self. And in episode 40, we still explored. So it goes to show how big some of these codependent behaviors can be. And in episode 41, we have started to discuss needing to control, including making decisions for others or managing them. We didn't finish this point just as yet. And in this episode, we're carrying on exploring our need to control. In the upcoming episodes, we will look at doing things for others that make you feel uncomfortable, just to make them feel happy. Taking on too much, basing your mood on how someone else feels, not on your own emotions. Resenting, not receiving appreciation for your actions. And in episode 41, we finished on the note that the goal of a relationship is to love one another. And that's something to remember daily, and I hope you did remember it in the past few weeks. You raised an important point, Kings, that we would have different priorities than our partners. And as partners, we judge each other so harshly about things that I see now that as partners, we judge each other so harshly about things that fall back on different priorities. The goal is to love each other and accept that we are not the same. Somewhere, somehow in a relationship, we tend to forget that we are not the same. This is especially true when you are married or live together, because we have this feeling that we are one. So it's automatic that we would want the same things. Your partner will see things the way you see them, and that is not the case. You are still two different people with different priorities, and the goal is to love one another.
Yes, it's so true. We often end up counter-controlling each other in the relationship, expecting the other to change their priorities according to our priorities. The truth is, we don't see the things that are important to our partner until they also become important to us. One wants clean floors, and the other one wants a perfectly made bed. It all belongs to cleaning an orderly house, yet the importance can totally fail us in each case if it's not my main important point.
Wanting someone's priorities to be the same as yours makes me feel like we are a little bit inconsiderate, right? So priorities are very interesting in a relationship, and I've only just started being fully aware of them and learning to work with them. So when we were talking about this episode or planning for this episode, I thought that the control dynamic was more common in a parent-child relationship than in other relationships. So now I'm starting to think differently. The parent and child relationship that I'm talking about is not about the small children. It is the adult children where the parent feels like they need to control or be in their child's lives. So when we started this episode, it was really I was kind of feeling that it was really gonna come out in this episode. But now I've seen all sorts of control coming out.
So back to these parents getting involved in children's life culturally, in your culture, out of respect towards the elders, the parents, they have much more control in their child's life than like in the culture where I'm coming from.
Yes, yes, because in tradition and culture, lines can be blurred.
When is expected and you have to go on your knees to serve your mother and father-in-law, then there is no way that you can say that this is my family and don't try to tell us how to live our lives. I mean, I don't see that you can do that.
And that would be considered as being disrespectful.
So how to keep up the tradition in the way that everyone is allowed to be an adult in it? If they want to, I would say that the in-laws might have to ask themselves, how can I keep up traditions and also have love between me and the mother of my grandchildren? This is the woman who looks after my son, cooks for him and loves him, and ultimately determines every day of his life. Do I want to have a loving relationship with her, or do I want to control this person?
Oh my goodness, that would be an absolute breeze. I would love that. I would love for more mothers to think about that and to really consider that question. So coming to my own experience with my mother who struggles with my relationship sometimes. So the household duties are being shared in my household in a different way than traditionally. And sometimes it's hard for my mother to accept that because traditionally this is how it is. And now it's like, what are you doing? So with my husband, we share the duties in a way that we take into consideration each other's current workload. The duties are shared and executed by a person who has more spare time at the moment. And also, they are shared in such a way that, he loves different things. He likes to do different things than I do, and his strengths as well, and my strengths. So this is unheard of in a traditional setting.
It sounds like a wise way of sharing the duties because it's based on what I enjoy most and what you enjoy most, and from chore that it can change it into something totally different. It can transform household duties. When the people around you, your mom, dad, mother-in-law, father-in-law, husband, don't try to control you. You trust what they are telling you. They are saying from experience, and it comes out of wisdom gained. Then you will listen. When you know that you are allowed to make your own decision, even if they have offered an advice, then you will be grateful for their wisdom. If the relationship is based on wisdom, then the other person will say, let me try, the one who actually the wisdom was given to. But you also have to know that if they don't follow your advice, it has nothing to do with you and you can't take it personally. It's also possible that they have been controlled by someone so long that even wisdom will feel like control and they will rebel against it.
In someone like me, for instance, that, I might rebel against wisdom because maybe I feel like there was control triggers me. So yeah, I hear you.
This is why I said that it's best to wait until someone asks for an advice rather than just giving it.
Yeah, asking for advice. I must also remember that, to let people ask for advice than just giving it to them because I feel like I have the wisdom.
We already talked about how control links in with safety, wanting to feel safe, and this brings us to a big thing, which is fear. Between couples, it can happen that what we fear is different. For example, going bankrupt with a business or being homeless. And when there is enough money to go around, these fears move to the background. But when there is a scarcity, the business and home start to fight with each other. The couple starts to fight with each other. By making an agreement, this fight can be turned into from fighting with to fighting for each other. And all sides of lives are safe because one keeps an eye on the best interest of the business and the other one keeps an eye on the best interest of the home.
Yeah, because they are both important. The most important thing is that there is peace and understanding.
Yes, we have to be clear about our and each other's priorities and fears.
So it goes back to know thyself. When you know thyself, it means that you you can communicate thyself.
Yes, and it also goes back to codependency, to have the right to be ourselves, how to step out of codependency, to have the right to be ourselves, and the other person also have the right to be themselves. The good thing is that you can work through fear of bankruptcy, homelessness, becoming vacant on the streets by looking at it through their place in the system. The question we ask is where this fear is coming from. What is the root cause of it? Because, like an example, that maybe someone has an OCD and bleaching and disinfecting everything in the household, this could go back to someone in the previous generation who died in a pandemic.
I see now that if one partner's priority is keeping his commitments to the extended family, and the others is the immediate family's freedom, how these priorities can easily clash if they are not communicated clearly.
But communication can be tricky. It goes back to perception. When we talk about the banana, we both believe that we understand each other. But actually, I don't know what the banana in your mind looks like. It might be yellow and bigger than mine. But these differences we can talk about. More than probably what we will never be able to explain to each other is a taste of a banana. How does it taste for you or for me? Because the actual experience for me or you is different. Actually, even with the color, we only can agree if we have a chart. So the reason I'm saying the banana, because each other's fear, because it's coming from a different systemic reasoning or root cause, cannot fully understand the depth of our partner's fears.
Even when I'm talking about family with my partner, we will not have the same understanding of family.
Yes. And family is interesting because obviously systemic work started off, it used to be called family constellation work. It looks at us as part of the family. So this is how the whole view started. And it has an enormous effect on our life. When we didn't have let's say, if you didn't have a supportive family to grow up in, with some of us, it will make us want to have a family more. And some of us, it wants to have family less.
Yeah, that's interesting. So what about responsibility?
The ones who desperately want to have a family, they often take on too much. When we understand the priorities of the other, our partner, we start to appreciate the effort they put in, even if it's not what we would have chosen to do. We can't understand it on a certain way, like, because that's not our choice. But we see now why we're doing it and the effort they put into.
Then we start appreciating each other again.
Yeah. Now back to the child and parent relationship. For a child, it is very important that the parents exercises a right amount of control. The child needs firm boundaries and the responsibility to be taken off from his shoulders. This allows the child to be a child and feel safe. Well-defined boundaries for where the child knows exactly what is okay and what is not okay is an environment where children thrive. If a parent gives them too much choice, it also means too much responsibility. The input of the child in the decision making should be age appropriate.
So what I'm hearing is that it is just as important to know and understand the goal and purpose of our relationships. And I know that with children, especially when you speak about the fact that it's not a child's responsibility to make right decisions. Certain parents can get caught up in this hip parenting era where we want to be cooler than our parents because they were not so cool and we resented that. So what I see now is how that can be a trap to some level where we find ourselves lacking crucial boundaries for the development of the child.
In my work, I see a lot of single parents who involve their child too much in decision making. This is not right because it actually moves the child into the position of a partner from being a child. It is equally harmful for the child and the parent. The child has to grow up too quickly, and mom or dad will not be able to find an adult partner because the place is already being taken up by the child.
The child has to grow up too quickly, and the mom or dad will not be able to find an adult partner because the place is already taken up. Wow, this is quite interesting, and I think I've seen glimpses of this in my journey of life. And interesting thing about my mom, she's very careful, very independent. She doesn't involve us too much. As an adult child, let me just say I had this expectation that my mom would share certain information about her plans, etc., because she doesn't have a partner. And not that I wanted to be her partner, but also I felt that she was getting a bit older, so she should share certain things with someone and maybe I can help her. But she just shuts me out. She goes out and do what she wants to do. And I think last year it hit me and I was like, it's okay. Let me just leave her alone because I think she just wants to be the adult and not decide with me. And she wants to be her own person and do her own thing. And I must just let her be. Even if she doesn't make the best decision, I need to let go. So what you're saying now makes sense. She's trying to draw a boundary, well, between me and her when I say us, because I don't think my brother has that need.
So what would you think if your mom would get involved in your decision about your life, your business, your marriage, or your stepchildren? Some parents do try to override the decision of their children, even if when they are adults and have their own adult life going on. Now, I would like to ask you to feel into this, that your decisions are constantly questioned and belittled. Does it make you feel stronger, more capable? When you make your own decisions, with fully taking responsibility for it, even if you have made a mistake, like we talked about this before, and you are ready to call the mistake a school fee or something like that, you look at the decision that you made and later you're seeing that you could have made a better one and forgive yourself for it. And you are ready to say that I made the best decision with the information and knowledge I had at the time, then healing can happen. And the truth is that your parents only let you go when they say, I will allow you to make your decision because I see that you learn from them. So just again a question, would you like your parents hovering over you and telling you that all your decisions are wrong and what you have to do? I'm sure you wouldn't like that. So you can imagine if you are doing this to your mom, who is fully capable of making her own decisions. I mean, she raised 2 children, even though she is a pensioner, yet she is still working. So she seems like a very capable.
I wouldn't like that at all. It doesn't make me feel good. That is eye-opening, Kings. Even the whole thing with my mom disguised as hell, in inverted commas, was a control freak in me trying to get into my mom's life, wanting to manage her life and her decision-making processes. So yeah, that is not good for our relationship. I wouldn't want it to be a part of my life. I wouldn't want anyone to control my life. So I don't want to control anybody's life.
Yes, I think it's in our best interest when we look at our need to control the people around us and keep ourselves to the law of don't do to the family members around us or friends what we wouldn't like them to do to us. Look at your friends and your family and say inside you that I see that you are strong enough to make your own decision. I am ready to stay out of it, even if I don't agree with them. And even if I believe that you are going to get hurt in the process, you can ask the person if they would like to hear a second opinion or not. And if they say yes, you can share your opinion. If they said no, don't share your opinion. When we get to commitment, if 2 partners agree to commit themselves to something, they must try their absolute best, according to their best knowledge and best ability, to hold on to that promise. I think when you were talking about the money issues, this was what could have created this need for control. Because if the promise was made and the decision was made together, both parties have to be adult enough to make the most effort to hold themselves to this promise. The question, of course, comes, what is the best means? What is this best? Doing your best mean. It can easily happen that what is the best for me and what is the best for you is not the same. Your enough might not be enough for me. We can all sit down with our partners and talk about how can we solve this life situation if something comes up, when a decision has to be made without a need of controlling each other.
As you were talking about letting someone make their life decisions and saying that you see that they are strong enough to make their decision, then my question from that is, where do we draw the line in our married life and cohabiting lives to allow people to make their decisions? You have to trust in the decision they make, even when you know that it will cost both of you. I allowed people before to make their decisions because I didn't want them to resent me. And when the decision was falling apart, I was a bit resentful that, you see, I told you this will happen. So I think that one is a bit of a challenge for me.
Yeah, I understand, because this is always very difficult, and every relationship has its own dynamics in how to establish and where to find healthy boundaries. To find them is a lot of work. It will not happen at once. And there is no magic wand to be used in finding this. The tools, actual tools, like communication, experience, awareness, like being aware what is hurting our partner, what is helping me, what is hurting me. So just to be always present in the relationship. The most important thing about a decision or action taken by one partner is that it is not hidden from the other partner. So the other partner can prepare him or herself, or if it is really something that he or she doesn't want or is scared of, that gives her or him time and a chance to convince the other not to choose this option. But if it's hidden away from the partner because the one who is doing it knows that the other one would not agree, that is not fair. That is not a partnership. There are, of course, more and more layers to it, because we always have to ask, why would my partner hide it away from me? This is not something we can answer in depth in a few seconds, because we don't know where is it coming from. Why is this partner hiding? It could come from the system anywhere. And this is not something we can answer in depth in a few seconds, but the relationship is based on balancing and based on up and downs. Sometimes one partner's opinion wins and another time the others. Like a good example, I think, if someone is risk averse and the other one is a risk taker, there is a dynamic which is about growth. For us to grow, we have to take risks. If you look at the seed, it's compact. Nothing really can happen with the seed. But as soon as it starts to grow and takes a chance at life, it will face millions of dangers. But life calls for us to take risk because there is growth in it. Yet, you also must choose a safe environment for the seed to grow in it. So if there is a disagreement, the best way is to say to each other, look, we don't agree on this one.
Yeah, agree to disagree.
Yes, the risk-averse person can say that for me to agree with the decision, like as a balance, you have to agree to something that is not important for you, but I need this for me to feel safe. This is that you can't balance, like you need, this would take me too far out in my comfort zone. So I need something from you to give me or to the relationship that will make me move back in and feel safer again.
This reminds me of the banana example. So even if both partners are risk takers, they tend to take risk in different things. Conservative in some areas and risk takers in other areas. So when one asks, my love, get your risk appetite up. If it happens to be about something that the other one is conservative about, she will say no, even if she is a risk taker in other areas of life. So it's such as life and such as relationship.
Yes, because step by step we move together. If I'm not comfortable stepping into a certain direction, what my partner is, we can do it and step there because we are doing it together. And this is how a relationship grows and steps into the future, by stepping out of our comfort zones for the other because we are in it together.
Wow, it is not very easy to let go or not find yourself involved with control. And I don't know what else I can help control with, except to say maybe just having that awareness, like you were saying, Kings, let's not do unto others. We wouldn't want done unto ourselves. And adding to that, I would say checking in with yourself every day when it comes to your state of control in your relationships. Maybe it can work. We could even introduce the control wheel, similar to the emotional wheel, to assess if we are more on the healthier or obsessive side of the control. I almost got in a very bad control state with my brother at some other point in life, but I'm so grateful that he didn't allow me. I'm also grateful for the people I've got in my life who are strong and who can stand up against being controlled and refuse to let me control them in any way. So that has helped me to step out of people's lives.
There is kind of a control wheel available to us, so more like a scale, because there are signs that we on the less healthy side of control. The most obvious sign of being stuck on the less healthy side of control is when you keep on obsessing about a past situation in your mind. You keep on going back there, replaying it. What is done, actually, the truth is, what is done is done. There is nothing you can do about it now except learn from it. But you do feel that you have lost control there and you've been forced into a situation that you really don't want. And this situation is more than probably something that is triggering something deep, deep inside you. It is something that makes you feel uncomfortably vulnerable. And just again, with the partners, we can all sit down with our partners and talk about how can we solve this life situation without the need of controlling each other. How can we do this together?
I'm writing that down. How can we solve this life situation without the need of controlling each other? And that is a big question. We are closing this episode. That it can also apply to other challenging situations that we come across in life. How do I overcome this challenge without the need to control? Please do share this episode as it can help the next person. Kings, what can we expect in episode 43?
We still have 4 signs of codependent behaviors left on our list, and we will carry on exploring them. And dear listeners, if you feel this episode touched something inside you and you are experiencing limiting patterns or relationship issues and would like to have an individual session, book a family constellation session with us on our website, www.uniqueyetconnected.com, or on our socials, Facebook or Instagram. Our handle on both platforms is @UniqueYetConnected.
Thank you once again for listening to our 42nd episode. And another big thank you to Nick Mons from That Guy Productions for making us sound fabulous and on point. Our 43rd episode is in 2 weeks' time from now. Do tune in on the 31st of March, 2024 from 10 a.m. South African Standard Time. And do remember, you can find all our episodes online. They are evergreen. You can listen to them at any moment in time. We look forward to hearing from you. Like our pages, engage with us on Facebook and on Instagram at Unique Yet Connected, unique spelled YOUNIQUE. Stay unique, stay connected, and remember, you are one of a kind. We can only create this really meaningful podcast together. Keep the conversation going. Siyabulela. Kosonom. Till the next episode. Bye.
Thank you. Siyabulela. Kosonom.